Just a day after one of the most feel-good wins of the season, the Golden State Warriors followed up with one of the most frustrating losses of the season. That one stings. That one was annoying, frustrating, just a craw in the back that you just can't shake off. That was annoying, and it was preventable. I'm going to explain why. Plus, Stephen Curry's injured. We got a status on that. This was brutal, folks. Let's break it all down next. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, where we're exclusively live. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by the best source for tickets, and that's Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Threads at DogWild. This was brutal, folks. The Golden State Warriors playing a Chicago Bulls team that you could say at best is average. After they beat the Golden State Warriors tonight, their record improves to 31-32, a team that is going nowhere and has been going nowhere for I don't know how many years, came into Chase Center tonight and beat the Golden State Warriors 125-122. Again, just an utterly frustrating game. Brandon Podziemski had a chance to tie it late, missed the easiest layup imaginable. Just Stephen Curry rolls his ankle late in the game. Steve Kerr has been attributed as saying that the only status he can provide is that his ankle is currently soaking in a bucket of ice. That's what I'm hearing. So it's too early to determine how severe the injury is. Draymond Green fouls out of a game that was a mixed bag. It was his first triple-double in since 2021. That was a very surprising stat to me. I was honestly, I did not realize it's been 3 years since he's had a triple-double. He used to be a triple-double machine. Finishes the game tonight with 11 points, 12 assists, 10 rebounds. But again, fouls out. They needed him at the end. And for the second time in 3 games, Draymond Green, for some reason, thought it was okay to challenge the players he was defending to shoot threes. And for the second time in 3 games, they got burned because of it. One of the signs of a player aging is not giving it their all in every possession. My fear, and I hope I'm just, this is just an immediate reaction and I'm totally wrong, but my fear is that Draymond's doing this because he's slowing down, because he can't constantly be jumping out and defending threes and then getting back in a split second to defend a possible 2. Maybe I'm off base on that. I don't know. But from initial impressions, for him to do this for twice now in 3 games, Jaylen Brown burned him in that Celtics game. And then tonight, I mean, to see Nikola Vucevic just completely burn Draymond Green possession after possession, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. Vucevic finishes this game with 33 points. The Bulls as a team collectively were 16 of 36 from beyond the arc. That's 44.4% three-point shooting. It's phenomenal. You could say it was maybe fluky and a little lucky, but at the same time, part of at least my frustration watching this game tonight was watching a Warriors defense that just thought, go ahead and shoot it. We're going to be okay. Have you not seen the NBA the last 10 years? Have you not witnessed your own team shooting 3-pointers? You can't play defense like that anymore. I don't care if someone's percentage from the 3-point line is closer to 30% than 40. You're going to get burned. I don't understand what the strategy is here, yet that's what the Golden State Warriors were doing possession after possession tonight, and it resulted in again, the Chicago Bulls just looking like one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the NBA. And again, I don't understand why Draymond was sagging the way he was. DeMar DeRozan was DeMar DeRozan, the dude. I don't understand why DeMar DeRozan's on the Bulls in the first place. It's just a complete waste of talent. This guy is still one of the best players in the NBA, and he was burning the Warriors possession after possession. 39 minutes of play for him. He was 10 of 17 from the field. He was part of that three-point barrage. He was 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, and he finished the game tonight with 33 points. I see people in the chat upset about the fact that Jonathan Kuminga, first of all, the short-term memory of so many fans is appalling. How just one game, all of a sudden, people give up on Kuminga's defense. That's absurd. Look, DeMar DeRozan is one of the best offensive players in the game. Now, look, did Kuminga mess up falling for that pump fake near the end? Absolutely. But what the Warriors abandoned later in this game, that I don't understand why they abandoned it. They were doing it earlier in the game, but they stopped double teaming DeRozan. DeRozan was automatic tonight. And why you continue defending him with just one player, Bob Fitzgerald was referencing this as well, made no damn sense. But the perimeter defense, to me, was above all else what failed for the Golden State Warriors tonight. You can't let opposing teams shoot endless open threes like that. I do not remember many of those three-point attempts being contested. That's absurd. And when I'm looking at the minute distribution for this team tonight, the one player's minutes who sticks out to me in terms, well, there's actually two. The other one I'm going to bring up in just a second. But one of the players' minutes tonight that just really is nonsensical when I'm looking at the rotations and I'm looking at the minutes is Gary Payton II. You have this guy as a defensive specialist. He is on your roster to solve issues like these. Why was Gary Payton II not defending DeMar DeRozan? If you're not going to double team DeMar DeRozan, and you're just going to let him burn you possession after possession, the guy can create space for himself anytime he wants. He's already one of the most lethal mid-range shooters the game's ever seen in recent history, and he's also a pretty damn good three-point shooter. Why? I know Kuminga's been a fantastic defensive player for this team this year, but tonight DeRozan was the better player. And I don't understand why Gary Payton II only got 11 minutes. 11. I really am baffled by that. I'm looking at the stat sheet. He had one turnover. Okay, so he wasn't just giving the ball up as a reason for him not to play. He only had one personal foul. I don't get that, and I do hope someone asked Steve Kerr in the postgame presser, why was Gary Payton II persona non grata in this game tonight? But the sagging off for these three-point shots, again, the Celtics destroyed him doing that. The Bulls, this is a game that they had to win. When you're looking at the standings and you're looking at how competitive this stretch run is for the Warriors, only a quarter of the season remaining, only 20 games remaining on the schedule now. And to give up this game to the Bulls, this was borderline must win. It's just frustrating. I don't even have words to describe just how annoying a game like this is. And the Golden State Warriors are now back in a tie with the LA Lakers for that final play-in spot. The Warriors 33-29, the LA Lakers 34-30. The Warriors now fall a game and a half behind the Dallas Mavericks, who won today. The Warriors now fall 3 games behind the Kings, who also won today. The Warriors still are 3.5 back of the Suns for the 6 seed, 4 back of the Pelicans for the 5 seed. Still realistic. But again, you have 20 games remaining in the season, and this game to lose to the Bulls the way they did with just wide open three-point shots. I know the Bulls are known for being three-point shooters, but these are professional basketball players. In theory, they all should be making threes if they're left wide open. And I just don't understand the mindset that went into some of these decisions tonight. And it sucks. I don't know how to spin that. If there's sound that comes in, I will play it because I myself am very curious about the status of Stephen Curry. In fact, actually, here is Steve Kerr. This is only a 9-second clip. We'll play it. In fact, I'll play it when we come back from the break. But Steve Kerr does have an update, a brief one, albeit regarding Stephen Curry's injury, but just a brutal loss, 125-122, incredibly annoying. And the Warriors now, who knows where they are? I mean, if Stephen Curry's injury is extensive, where he's going to miss a lot of time, whatever aspirations Dub Nation has is gone. I mean, the Warriors are clearly not a title contending team without him. They're going to make the playoffs no matter what. But if this is the type of injury that's going to keep him out for like a month, the season's over. I don't know what else to say. So when we come back, we're going to hear from Steve Kerr about Stephen Curry's injury. There was also another player whose minutes are going to be up for discussion. I'm going to reveal what I mean by that next. But let's give some love to our sponsors, the folks who are paying our bills, thankfully, tonight. And first up for the evening is Nissan. I used to own a Pathfinder. I like Nissans. I think they're actually fantastic cars. And that is one of our sponsors for the night. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Have you ever wondered what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. And I'm going to feature two cars for this ad read today. The first up is the 2024 Nissan Rogue, a perfect car for city drives and great escapes. That I feel like that paints the Bay Area picture to the T. It's class exclusive. Google built-in is always updating as an assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect mid-size crossover for your next adventure. And the other car to feature for this read today is a car I used to own myself, and I miss my Nissan Pathfinder tremendously. It was one of my favorite cars ever. The 2024 Nissan Pathfinder has room for up to 8 people, an expansive cargo capacity, and advanced available 4x4 capability with 284 horsepower. I remember my Pathfinder having a lot of punch and up to 6,000 pounds of towing. When adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. So take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop nissanusa.com.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The Locked On Podcast Network has a 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now that same show is also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Why don't we hear from Steve Kerr in regards to Stephen Curry? All I can see, I've not listened to this yet, but I can see the length of this clip is incredibly short, which means the update will not be extensive. But nonetheless, here is Steve Kerr talking about Stephen Curry's ankle injury.
On Steph's ankle.
I don't know yet. Yeah, he's got his foot in a bucket of ice right now. I haven't talked to the training staff yet.
So there you go. And normally, when Steph has these ankle rolls or injuries, and look, the ankle's been an issue nearly his entire career, but it's been a long time, as far as I can remember, since he's missed extensive time because of an ankle injury. He normally bounces right back. The fact that in this case, it didn't look like a clean roll. I mean, it looked like a high ankle sprain. He was trying to walk it off. It wasn't working out there. He goes to the locker room. We don't see him again. Yeah, Bree CS, I totally agree with you. Bree CS writes that she hasn't seen, if you're a she, I apologize based off the picture, that you haven't seen Steph limp that bad in a long while. I agree. It didn't look good. And Abraham De Leon adding that hold on, sorry about that. There we go. That his right foot got stuck on the cord. Yeah, it was just a nasty roll. And John Holmes writing that you saw a lot that you liked in this game. There was a lot that was good as well. We'll cover that as well, because look, the Warriors did almost win this game. When you talk about clutch games this season, this was the 38th clutch game for the Warriors this year. And in case you're unfamiliar with the term clutch, it refers to any NBA game where your team is within 5 points of each other, the two teams, in the last 5 minutes of the game. Clutch basically means it's a close game at the end. And this was the 38th clutch game for the Warriors this year, which leads the NBA. And they're now 18-20 after tonight. Again, this was just frustrating. This was just an annoying loss for the Golden State Warriors. And 9-9 Tiagni, I do agree with you in this sense. And I know I've been critical of Andrew Wiggins lately, but I feel like tonight was a game where he was missed. I mean, they could have used his length. They could have used his athleticism on the perimeter. Perimeter defense is what, from what I observed, clearly failed the Warriors the most. Again, the Chicago Bulls shot 44.4% from beyond the arc. That's outrageous. Okay, that's good. That's a good number. But it's not the percentage that really sticks out. It's the fact that they made 16 threes. There were 16 of 36. And there were wide open threes. And I don't understand why Gary Payne II only played 11 minutes. Andrew Wiggins, I thought, could have been used tonight. I don't understand. He played a total tonight of 15 minutes. If the plan is just they're easing it back in, so be it. One other player that did not play tonight, that it's worthy of bringing up, just because entering tonight's game, this individual had played in, where are my stats right here? If I have the numbers correct, 289 consecutive games. That's a long active streak, especially for a player that early in his career was injury prone. He went through a lot of surgeries and rehabilitation for bad hips. And Kevon Looney, 289 straight games played. That streak ended tonight. Now, I understand that Looney and Dario Saric have been phased out of the rotation largely because of it's mostly their foot speed. They're just not able to stay in front of the players they're defending. It's unfortunate. They've become a bit of a defensive liability. But of all the games for that streak to snap, I did not think this one would be it, for the simple reason that there was a stretch in the third quarter. The Golden State Warriors were leading this game 77-72, and the Chicago Bulls went on a 27-10 run. And again, a lot of that run was open threes, but a lot of that run was second chance points, largely from the Bulls dominating the inside of the paint. And Andre Drummond was a key cog in there. He was just eating rebounds up. He was a menace for a good stretch of time there. And I thought of all the moments of all the teams where you could have used Kevon Looney, one of, if not the best rebounders in this game. Man, his hands of steel. I'm never going to forget those 22 rebounds he grabbed in a Western Conference Finals clinching game in 2022. Again, I know he's struggling this year. I know he's phased out of the rotation, but you couldn't have played him for a minute or two. You couldn't have had a matchup with a Drummond of all players to grab a few boards. So I thought that was a little unfortunate. Again, I understand that Looney has fallen considerably in the rotation, but his streak ends at 289 games. My math is correct. And Patrick Singh writing that Looney could have gotten even just 2 more minutes. But again, what are you going to do? So the Warriors lose this frustrating game. And I'm just trying to see what's going on in the chat real fast here, if there's anything I'm missing. When we come back, if there's more sound, we're going to play from that. I'm going to play some sound, courtesy of whoever is at the podium for the Golden State Warriors. If there's any updates on the Stephen Curry injury, that's going to be something that I will happily update you on, because the entire season is on the line when Stephen Curry is hurt. And we're going to talk about some other results as well, and a few other observations from this game that I noticed. This is just brutal. This game honestly hurt more than the Celtics game. When you're getting your ass kicked, like in that blowout in Boston, you move on. It's over. You know it from the beginning. It's just, you can kind of think ahead and just, wave the white towel before, you're emotionally invested, before you're physically drained. But a game like this, where you're in it until the final seconds, Stephen Curry's hurt, Draymond Green, your defensive anchor, is just leaving players wide open on the perimeter now. The coaches are making mistakes with minute distribution. I mean, I'm sorry for sounding like a broken record, but 11 minutes for Gary Payne II, that's just, I don't get that. Why? Klay Thompson had a pretty good game tonight. He hit that late 3 that should have been a game winner had it not been for defensive lapses and the Brandon Pajemski missing that layup at the very end. And I know Brandon Pajemski is kicking himself for that. So we'll talk about all the remaining stuff, the upcoming schedule, and so much more. Let's give some love to our other sponsor for the evening tonight, though. And that is the chat's on fire tonight. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in on a night like this. And let's give some love to Game Time, which is a phenomenal source if you want to get tickets to live events. And look, in this day and age, everyone's back out there. The pandemic's, I think, over. I honestly have no idea. But regardless, the world is running. People are going to sporting events. They're going to concerts. And if you need tickets, especially on a last-minute basis, there is no better source than Game Time. And Game Time, never mind the fact that it's got a super user-friendly app and website, but you can actually see the view from the seats that you're considering buying. That's huge, right? I mean, you want to know if there's an obstacle in front of you. You want to know if, you're maybe too far to the side. You can't see, what you want to see. So you get this phenomenal view of what your seats are going to look like. You can wait till the last minute. This is where Game Time is a fantastic resource for anyone who decides, a day before, a couple hours before, you decide you want to go to a concert, you want to go to a sporting event, you want to go to the Warriors game Saturday, where they're at home taking on, I'm looking at my schedule right now, the San Antonio Spurs. Victor Wembanyama is coming to town. Game Time is the resource for you. And here's probably the best part, though, of Game Time. They've got a low price guarantee. What I mean by that is, let's say you buy your tickets from Game Time, and then you happen to see seats that are in the same section and same row from another ticket broker for a lower price. Game Time will refund the difference. That is literally a low price guarantee. So download the Game Time app, create that account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guarantee.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, one final segment of Locked On Warriors as we wrap up what has turned into a brutal Thursday night after the Warriors succumb to a very annoying Chicago Bulls team and an average at best Chicago Bulls team. This was a game that the Warriors could not afford to lose, yet that is exactly what happened. 125-122, the final. Here's Steve Kerr again. This is one of those nights where I am very curious to hear what Kerr has to say, and let's hear him discuss what happened at the end of the game, and more specifically, DeMar DeRozan, who is just eating up the Warriors inside and out. Here's Steve Kerr talking about all those things.
You called the DeRozan shot kind of like the key shot of the game.
Yeah.
It was on a pump fake and one,
right,
which obviously he's known for. How difficult is it for a guy like Kuminga, even knowing, that the pump fake might be coming?
Yeah, I mean, DeMar is one of the great closers in the game. He has been for 10 years. So, it's a great experience for all of our young guys. JK and BP were in the pick and roll exchange, so it's good for them to feel this. Moses too, to feel these big situations. And like I said, I've got no problem with our effort, execution. We just got outplayed. Chicago was great. They've been playing well. Watching them on tape coming in to this game, I was pretty worried just because you could see the force that they were playing with and the confidence, and they came in and earned it.
You called the DeRozan shot.
I guess. So there's Steve Kerr talking about DeMar DeRozan just completely beating up the Golden State Warriors tonight. Tough loss for the Dubs, 125-122. And again, the perimeter defense just completely failing the Golden State Warriors tonight. In what was yet another clutch game. So looking at the standings right now, there were a lot. Sorry about that. Let me get everything organized here in terms of visuals. So looking at the standings right now, because again, every game, there's only 20 remaining. So we're past the 3/4 mark of the NBA season. The home stretch is here. By the way, some good news. I don't know if it's good news for you. It's great news for me. Our clocks, even though we lose an hour, our clocks are rolling forward this weekend. Keep that note handy somewhere in case you forget. It's going to be light later. I always love that, even though you lose an hour. And that's going to happen Saturday night. The Golden State Warriors play earlier that day. Again, they host the San Antonio Spurs at Chase Center, which is a borderline must-win game in terms of playoff positioning. I mentioned the standings a moment ago where the Warriors are at right now. They're tied with the Lakers for the final play-in spot. But there were some huge games tonight, which, again, have major implications for the Warriors. So the Timberwolves, that's not going to matter. The games we're referring to, so the Phoenix Suns won. They beat the Toronto Raptors 120-113. Even though this doesn't have much implications for the Warriors because they have virtually no shot of those top positions, there was a potential NBA Finals preview tonight between the Nuggets and the Celtics. And the Nuggets won that game 115-109. The Nuggets are just looking damn good. And one other game, though, and this was probably the biggest one for the Warriors in terms of playoff positioning. The Sacramento Kings, who have been struggling mightily this season by their standards, they did beat the San Antonio Spurs, a team, again, the Warriors will play this Saturday. The Kings won 131-129. So, again, when you look at the standings right now, the Kings hold a 3-game lead over the Golden State Warriors with the win and the Warriors loss. And the Dallas Mavericks, again, a game and a half ahead of the Warriors right now. The Warriors and the Lakers are tied for that bottom spot. The Warriors are a game ahead in the loss column, but in terms of win-loss percentage, they are currently tied. And the Lakers have played 2 more games than the Warriors this season. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, but that was rough. I just want to see real fast here if there's anything in the chat before we call it a wrap. Ooh. People are not happy. I don't blame you. There's nothing. There's a lot of people in the chat discussing Podziemski and whether or not he's playing too many minutes. Again, that missed layup at the end was brutal. There was no way to spin that. But I guess what I'm curious about is for the folks out there who think he's playing too much, who do you want playing instead? I don't think he played. He played 27 minutes tonight. It was 26 minutes and 58 seconds more specifically. Didn't have a bad game. He was 4 of 7 from the field, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc. Unfortunately, one of those 3 misses tonight was that final layup. Did finish with 11 points, was in the positive in net rating. The starters did okay tonight. Wiggins was a +7, Kuminga a +3, Podziemski a +7, Steph a +9. But the bench is where the Warriors just kept giving up the leads. Klay Thompson, -11 in net rating, even though he did score 25 points. He was 5 of 12 from beyond the arc. Such a shame that last 3 was not a game winner because they had the feel of it. Trayce Jackson-Davis coming off that beautiful performance defending Giannis Antetokounmpo, and just an all-around great game against the Bucks. Had an okay game. I wouldn't say great. Had 8 points, 4 rebounds. Was a perfect 3 of 3 from the field, but he was part of that group that just kept giving up those leads. He was a -15 in net rating. And then Moses Moody was a mixed bag. That rebound he grabbed near the end was phenomenal. I mean, I love Moody. The guy can absolutely play. He did get a good run tonight, 22 minutes, 51 seconds. He was 4 of 9 from the field, did miss all 4 of his 3-point attempts. Such a shame because if even just one of those goes in, I mean, that could have been the difference in this night. His outside shot has not established itself in terms of consistency yet. There's nights where he'll shoot great, and there's nights where the shot's just not falling like tonight. He did grab 9 rebounds in this game just to show you how athletic and strong he is. Finished with 10 points. But again, the bench, with the exception of GP2, we're all in the negative in net rating. And a bench that normally is the bedrock of this team this year. One of the brightest spots. They're 3rd in the NBA overall in terms of bench scoring. But they failed tonight. Again, Klay, Chris Paul, and Trayce Jackson-Davis both having really low numbers in net rating collectively. Stephen Curry, his shot was not falling before he suffered the injury. Alex Caruso was playing some good defense on him. The Bulls do have a long team. And that length seemed to bother the Warriors a little bit. Steph finished the game tonight. He was just 3 of 12 from beyond the arc. So, and again, but more importantly, that ankle injury that did not look good. Hopefully, there's no structural damage. I don't want to hear anything about MRIs. The moment that word creeps into the picture, that's when we should start getting a little concerned. So let's hope that it's just a sprain. It's a day-to-day thing. And then Draymond Green, again, I mentioned this earlier, had a triple-double for the first time since 2021, which, again, really bizarre. Was an even 0 in net rating. So, when he was out there, the team was neither winning or losing tonight. Did foul out of this game. And the final foul, which cost him, was setting an illegal screen courtesy of the NBA officials. So 11 points, 12 assists, 10 boards for Draymond, and his three-point shot, which has been one of the feel-good stories of the season, given how high his percentage is, but it wasn't falling tonight. He was 1 of 5 from beyond the arc. And so the Golden State Warriors fall 125-122. And Johnny Arias, I absolutely agree with you. We have no excuses. They should have won this game. KC, when it comes to plus minus, aka net rating, you're right that it's deceptive. I agree with you. It's a very subjective stat. You have to read into it. So, like, for example, in tonight, when you're looking at the bench, 3 bench players more specifically, whose net rating is almost all nearly identical, and it's all has a massive negative, you can read into that a little bit. And what I mean by that is, in tonight's game, Clay, Chris Paul, and Trace Jackson Davis, those 3 were playing together most of the night, coming off the bench. And minus 11, minus 15, minus 15, that does tell a story. And the story is that when they were out there, even though Clay, I know, was hitting shots, Chris Paul, I thought statistically had a good game. He also hit that 3 at the end that almost brought the Warriors back, but they were out of timeouts, so they couldn't bring the ball up. Chris Paul finished this game. He was 6 of 8 from the field, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc, that one at the very end, finished the game with 15 points, 5 assists. But when you see it collectively, you can kind of see a picture developing here. Not to say that I'm blaming any of them, not to say that they're necessarily the reason. And you're absolutely right. Net rating is a subjective stat. It's part of the story, certainly not the whole story. But yeah, the Kenneth De La Cruz, you're absolutely right. Loss at home. It just sucks. And a weird thing, by the way, with the Warriors' record this year, the loss tonight just adds to the fact that the Warriors, especially when you consider how awful of a road team they were last year, they're 17-16 at home now, which is, they're a game above 500 at home. That's crazy. They have a better road record this season. They're 16-13 on the road. The why of that, I have no clue. Yeah. Abraham D. Leon writes, without the bench, the game was not close. Okay. Well, all I'm telling you is what the net rating was for those 3 players. So, all right. I guess that's it. Folks, we'll be back at this soon. I got Ryan Leong on Saturday's show following the Spurs game. He's going to be joining the program as a guest live from Chase Center. He's going to be actually plugging in his microphone with an Ethernet connection in the media seats. So the aesthetic should be cool. You're going to see Ryan coming to us as a guest at Chase Center, up in the stands where the media section is. And this is going to be an interesting experiment, because if Ryan pulls this off and the connection's really good, I might start hosting shows there. I mean, why not? My biggest obstacle for the biggest reason why I haven't taken the show to Chase Center is because of the internet connection there, is because the Wi-Fi is spotty at best. I've been told previously there are no Ethernet connections. I don't know if something's changed, but we're going to find out with Ryan Saturday. That'll be a great experiment. We might have a show tomorrow to be determined. Follow me on Threads at Dog Wild for that answer. But regardless, rough game tonight. I'm sorry. Misery loves company. So at least Dub Nation, we got each other, and we'll be back at this soon. Let's hope Steph is okay. I think that's the biggest concern here. And we'll keep you posted. Good night, everyone. Rough loss. Back at it soon. Bye-bye.